Today we're going to be counting down the strongest steam engines from different countries. Number 1, the Grzly P2 Maio. These engines were outstanding for a number of reasons. Number 1, they were the first passenger engine to have 8 driving wheels. And number 2, it was one of the first passenger engines to use capote valve gear and the Lentz pattern. And number 3, they were the strongest steam engines in Britain, a record that still stands today. Number 2, the Union Pacific Big Boy. These engines were striking for a number of reasons. Being the strongest steam locomotive in America, these engines used a 4-8-8-4 wheel arrangement, making them big and heavy. Also holding the record for the biggest steam locomotive in the world, they also held the record for the strongest steam locomotive in the world. Number 2, South African Railways Garrett. These engines were strange because not only did they use articulated bogies, but the boiler did not have wheels under it. The bogies that carried the fuel, such as coal and water, had the driving wheels under them, making it a tank engine. Number 4, Victorian Railways Garrett. These engines used the same layout as the South African Garretts. Despite being in different countries, they were eerily similar. The South African Garrett, however, is still in steam, and the Australian Garretts, there is only one left. Number 5, the GSR Class 800. These engines were built for express passenger work on the Dublin to Cork main line. From 1939 to 1940, these engines were built. They looked quite similar to the LMS Royal Scots or the LMS Patriots. Number 6, GSR Class D52. These engines are built in Japan, were the strongest locomotives of their time. They were also the real-life basis for Hero, the oldest engine on the island of Sodor. Number 7, China Railways QJ. Having 10 driving wheels, these engines, also known as the TA Railways Gongyao or Iron Bull, were extremely powerful. This engine, built in 1956, survived for a long period of time as Chinese railways were very late getting rid of steam locomotives, with the last Chinese steam locomotive being built in 1999. Number 8, SNCF 241P. These engines, using a northern type wheel arrangement and having a very shrill whistle, worked in France. Despite their small size for a northern engine, these locomotives could put out a serious amount of power. Despite being passenger engines, these engines outdid all of the existing goods engines. Number 9, DSB Class D. These engines working in Denmark were the most powerful engines of their size. They worked in Denmark until the end of steam, and they were also the most powerful. Despite them having a 260 wheel arrangement, they were extremely powerful for their size. These engines lasted until 1976, which was an extremely long period for a steam locomotive. Only 2 engines making up these class, this engine was the most successful yet.